to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, hello everybody. This is the OhioRAAM Show live. Show about ultracycling and everything else cycling. Hey Lee.
Hi, Jim. I put this picture up in the background. We'll take it down. That's the way things looked on the cars when I came out of church this morning. We've had snow. It looks like we had more than you did, huh?
Yeah, we got a dusting, maybe a quarter inch. It looks like you got maybe a half inch or more.
Yeah, it was a pretty good little snow so far. I think it's pretty much done. I can't see out from here, but it's on the grass and sticking there.
Gotcha.
So, well, let's get on with what we're about here. This is our show is brought to you by all the wonderful people who operate 3 of the Race Across America time stations here in Ohio. Time station 41 in Oxford, Ohio, 42 in Blanchester, and 43 in Chillicothe. Jim's time station.
Yes, definitely.
We got to get
all 3 great time stations.
We got to get somebody in here to woohoo for the others sometime, Jim.
Definitely. I'll woohoo for them next time. We're all great team, great group of people that run the time stations.
Yeah, they are. They're wonderful folks, and I know everybody on the race appreciates them coming through. We got some guests coming in. Thank you for being here.
Definitely.
Yeah, Jim, we've got some news.
Yep, let me get back to there. I was on the wrong screen. We'll do the RAM update first, and we've had some additions, thank goodness. We've got 5 in the 2-person now. Had a big jump on the 4-person. We're now at 10. 8-person stayed the same at 5. Solo is 39, and now we have 20 countries involved. So
I think, was it
turning
last
out
week?
It's going to be a... Go ahead.
Was it last week we had 20?
We had 19 last week, so we're up 1 on the countries. So
we're coming along. Okay, very
definitely.
Good.
All right. The Indian Octowoman team is go for a 1,000-kilometer record this weekend. I think they started yesterday, correctly?
Right. They're still at it.
Yeah. So good luck to them, and hopefully they will break that record.
Yeah, we're glad to see so many women in India doing this. And Mira Belkanar, who was on the show a few weeks ago, is one of those doing it.
Definitely. And again, the virtual 3 and 6 hour world time trial will be held on full gas on January 8th. Go out there and join up and then come out and join us as we ride. So it'll be a fun virtual event this year. It's a good way to get your feet wet on a longer ride on the virtual platform. I'm going to do a shameless plug now for an event coming up next week that I'm going to be streaming. It'll be the Moonriders Tour, the American edition on RGT. So we're teaming up with V-Cycling News to do that, and you can check them out there. Just search for V-Cycling News on Facebook, and you'll see that, or scan the barcode on the screen and you'll get to the link. Upcoming shows. The 21st will be Kurt Matzler, Team Rotary Ram Polio. 28th we're doing a best of show. And then December 5th we'll be back live with Lionel. So check it out and watch the shows coming up.
And there's what is going to happen. Okay, I'm sorry, Jim.
You want to do that?
I told you I wouldn't do that, and then I
did. No worries. I was going. There you go.
Just a word from Kurt Matzler. So go on.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No worries. We're learning as we go. That's our thing. Last week we asked who was the fastest solo time and how fast was it and what year. 7 days, 7 hours, 15 minutes. 2014, and it was the great Christoph Strasser. So, this week's question: who is known as the voice of RAM? Go ahead and post your answers in the comments. hashtag ORSTA 1114 in your answer. And that's it for the news today, Lee.
Okay, very well. Well, it's very one of the great things we have done here on the. Well, I say it's a great thing. One of the important things we've done here on the OhioRAAM show is to try to do everything we can to support and encourage women in ultracycling.
Mm-hmm.
And we're continuing with a part of that program to bring the second and third winners of the World 24-Hour World Time Trial Championships this year.
Yep.
Somebody say, well, what about first? First is Christy Tracy. She's been on the show again and again, so we thought we would just move on to second and third. So let's start with the person who was third, Paige Redman, in Tucson, Arizona. Paige.
Hey, Paige.
Right? Hello.
Glad to have you with us. And then let's go to Carolyn Hansen.
Hello.
Somewhere in Denmark, I forget the town.
Odense.
Whatever you say.
Gotta have our translator on.
Yeah, okay. And we've got some guests here. Be sure to give us your comments, questions, or just tell us where you're at. I'm in wherever in Denmark.
There you go.
Oh, there's
Skydog.
Skydog, they're always
Mrs.
here.
Skydog and Mr. Skydog.
Mr. Skydog, both of them.
Yes.
Good. And you might have a chance at winning a wee prize at the end of the show if you make a comment or a question.
Mm-hmm.
And Soren says, hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Soren.
Carolyn. Paige, tell us a little about yourself, what you do, and how you got into cycling.
I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and born and raised here. I am a nurse in the trauma ICU. I've been doing that for about 2.5 years now. I started there, so it was a little bit challenging to get my grips on that. I was a runner before, not competitive, just casual. And of course, as most runners have, bad knees. So I got a bike back in 2016. So I've only been riding for about 5 years now. And kind of just got obsessed with it at the get-go and started doing crit racing or criterium racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got on a team and started doing a little bit of stage racing and not as much road racing, but the stage races had like road and crit. So it was kind of best of both worlds. And then COVID happened. And I decided I was going to do an Everest with a friend on Mount Lemmon. And I got about 24,000 feet of elevation and had some stomach issues. So I went out and I did another one about 2 or 3 weeks later, and I accomplished that in about 17 hours.
Wow.
And yeah.
Excellent.
And then
great job.
Shane Trotter, I don't know if you know of
Yes.
him. Yeah. He reached out to me and asked me to come out to Carson City and do an Everest out there near Lake Tahoe. So I did an Everest with him out there and didn't have the right gears for it. So I pretty much paperboyed the entire mountain, like pretty much the whole time. And I think we finished that in like around 14 hours. It was about the same elevation, a little bit higher elevation than Mount Lemmon. So I was going for like Everests that weren't like a quick up and down hill. I was doing actual mountains. And then a guy that I was dating asked me to do the Texas RAM Challenge, the 200 mile one, and did pretty well at that. Came in first and third overall. And then decided that I should join some other ultra races. I did the 300 Gravel Worlds and ended up winning that. That was pretty exciting. and then the 24-hour time trials, which I got third at. So.
Very good. And Larry asked about sound. Everything sounds good here.
Yes.
But if anybody else is having sound issues, or just check in and say, hey, okay. So it sounds like maybe he's got sound. Well, you never know what the internet's going to do for sure. And
definitely
like that happened. Carolyn, tell us about yourself, what you do, and what you've been into cycling. You're kind of young to be in this game, so you can't have had a lot of experience, but tell us.
Yeah, well, working as a medical doctor, and I've bought my first bike in 2017, so not many years with cycling. I've been riding a bit just for fun, and then I have been a crew member of Mads Frank a couple of years, and then I decided to try the 6 hours race in Denmark in 2020. Ended up first, both men and women. The year after, 2020, I decided to try 24 hours for the first time. And then the World Championships this year. So 5 years or so, I think I've been riding, and 2 years with ultra cycling.
And I think we should say that at the World Time Trial Championships, Carolyn set a record for her age group, 20 to 29. I can't even remember being that young, Jim.
Oh, come on, Lee. Yeah, you can.
And I wasn't setting any records, I can tell you that. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's just go over that a little bit. Carolyn was second overall among women with a 415.2 miles in 24 hours. And Paige came in just a few miles behind her, 411.6. That's probably one lap, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one small lap.
One small lap.
One small lap.
And sometimes because of how... So, ladies, talk to me. Were you aware of each other? Were you being competitive between each other? How did it go there?
Go ahead.
It was a tough race. I knew Paige was behind me, and I knew she was close. So I just tried to keep going.
How did the wind affect you guys also?
Ooh.
It was tough. We're used to wind in Denmark, but I wasn't expecting wind in Borrego.
Yeah, I knew there was cold and I knew there was heat, but I did not expect wind.
No, same for me. It made it a tough night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I was on my TT bike, and at one point I was getting kind of scared because the wind was almost like blowing me over on the TT bike. So I switched. Yeah. I took like a 15-minute break to switch bikes, and I think that cost me second place. And so then I was basically chasing Carolyn the entire rest of the race. And I knew that if I like pushed really hard on the last 4 laps, I could possibly catch up to her, but just 1 lap short.
Yeah.
The clock caught you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great effort.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Jim?
Yes.
We have 2 women here who are remarkably short on description. They just get right to it and tell us what's happened. And that's always a challenge for us when we have this. Well, let's just jump in at, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring a surprise guest in right now, Jim. Let's stir the pot a little bit.
There you go. I'll let you do that.
Get things going. Guess who is... You would never guess, ladies, who's behind screen right now, and we're going to bring her on. Christy Tracy.
Yay!
Hi, Christy.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you
Hey,
guys?
How are you today, Chris? Very good. How are you today?
Fantastic. I
Awesome.
just came off my 2 weeks off the bike. Today was my first hour and a half ride back, and so I'm feeling great.
Awesome.
well, we're so glad you're here, Christy. What do you think about these two? Did you know where they were at? And you had a nice lead on them, but
You know, I knew where they were at, and obviously I'm not going to stop my bike to look at the tracking, so I had to rely on Jamie, my husband and crew chief, and Leah and my coach to communicate that information. And my Wahoo head unit will give me texts, so when I get a text to my phone, I can see on the head unit. And I'm very competitive, as are these ladies. So they would text me gaps, and Jamie would say, "Caroline's really coming on strong. You better watch out and pick it up." And this is 23 hours in, and I've got nothing to pick it up with. So I'm just going as hard as I can and watching my wattage drop and praying that she's not coming on quite as strong as Jamie is alluding to, because I'm giving it everything I had. And Paige, especially super early on over the first half, I know she had a hard time with the wind, but I feel like she might have handled it better than I did. Both. Is it Carolyn or Caroline? I wasn't quite sure. I'm sorry.
Caroline.
Caroline. Okay.
Yeah.
So both Caroline and Paige at various different points of the race, in your own head, you're racing yourself. And it's so important, especially when there's something like wind, not to push too hard. Because if you burn your matches too early in the race, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble at the end. But it's so hard when you've got girls that are so strong, so close behind you, and you're riding at the wattage you need to be riding at, but you feel like you're going so slow into that wind. So they got into my head pretty good, because they did not make it an easy race.
You had a heck of a race.
It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
well, you got any questions? You ladies got any questions for Tracy or any of the rest of you?
I guess in the very beginning, we were kind of head to head for maybe 2 laps before I started getting crushed by that wind. And I know you had a goal in mind of, what was it, 500?
Yeah, I going into the race, so I got to Borrego about a week and a half before the race, because I had a new bike that we had, in the Hunger Games of components, that is 2022 or 2021. I had this frame for a while, but was waiting on the final components to build it up, and just got it built up the day that we got to Borrego, or right before we got to Borrego. So I wanted some time on the course on my new bike, so I would have a good sense of what kind of goals to set and how fast the course was. And every day during the pre-ride, the wind was nothing like it was on race day. So based on my pre-ride speeds, I've been averaging about 21.5 to 22 miles an hour at race pace. And I thought, yeah, I can absolutely hit the 500-mile club. So I made that as a goal. But I'd say a quarter of the way into the first lap, I knew it wasn't going to happen. You just kind of have to reassess based on the conditions. And by halfway into that first lap, when we hit that the false flat for the first time, yeah, I knew. I immediately messaged my coach. I could call based on my head unit, and I called and messaged my husband and was like, "Tell Matt, my coach, it's not going to happen. Let's reassess our goals and let's just hold our wattage and see what happens." And then I'm the same as you. I don't remember how many laps I fought the wind on that bike, and it was my brand new bike. And when you get a new bike, it's like, yay! And I really wanted to spend the whole race on it. But just like you, every time that I would make the right coming off that false flat, I was fighting it so hard just to not get blown off the road. And the wind wasn't steady at that point. It was super gusty. And so with the disc wheel on that bike, I just, I grew up I learned to ride in Corpus Christi, so I'm really good in the wind. But the gusts, you couldn't predict or manage them. And so I did the same as you. I switched because I was seriously worried I would get blown off my bike and then not be able to finish the race. So yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling. I have the opposite problem, Lee.
I know, Christy. That's what I got you in here for. but now, according to the chart here, Christy, you came up with 442.8. That's shy of a record. Meg Hakkinen still holds the record there of 460.8. And the one person I wanted to get in here as a surprise guest, but I haven't heard from her, is Jen Orr, who, though fighting a knee problem, and I just became aware of this, Jim, maybe you knew, that Jen had ridden the 6 hour.
No, I did not know that. Interesting.
She did the 6 hour, turned around, and come in fourth on the 24 hour at 388.8. Jen has been fighting dealing with a knee injury and being in rehab. And I thought that was pretty remarkable given that. But, what? I guess she figured if she's going to go over there, she might as well spend her time well.
There you go. How did you guys train or get your head around the 24-hour mental aspect of the ride? Paige?
Mentally, I'm pretty good at like mentally just staying focused, and I can be on the bike for hours, obviously. So that part wasn't the hard part. The hard part for me with training was I only had about 4 hours tops training on the TT bike at a time. So I wasn't even sure if I'd even be able to ride my TT bike. So I did get off my TT bike and ride my road bike, but I did that only until about sunrise, from like 2 a.m. to, I don't know, what was it, 6 a.m. And then I got back on my TT bike. So out of that 24 hours, I was only on my road bike for 4 of that hours. And I just can't believe that I was able to stay on my TT bike for that long, and in the bars too. Like I wasn't
excellent.
Cheating.
Caroline?
Yeah. Mentally, it was tough, especially when the heat came. If I wasn't the third or second, then I think I hadn't finished the race. It was quite tough. Especially the heat. We are not used to that heat in Denmark, and I haven't been racing very much out of Denmark. And the wind was tough in the night, so I was tired. And usually when I've been doing races in Denmark, we are starting in the morning. So when the sun come up, I'm used to a couple of hours, and then races finish. It wasn't in Borrego. There was 10 hours or so left, I think. And that was a tough one. I had a good crew telling me to keep going and telling me that I was going for the second place. And that helped.
Definitely. Christy, how about you?
I've transitioned to doing more 24-hour and 500-mile type races this year. So the distance or amount of time wasn't as much of an issue for me at Borrego as it had been in my earlier ones. I think my first 24-hour was Texas Time Trials last year in September. So I'd had about a year of experience, and leading up to it in training, work had been a bit crazy. I juggled a lot of different disciplines this year. So I was doing esports through the pandemic, which is a lot of really short, high intensity type of exercise or workouts and races, and then got into gravel as things started opening back up and doing some ultra. But my training was definitely different this year going into it than it has been in past years. So I felt like the mental aspect of it was greater because I just wasn't used to spending that much time on the bike. I mean, I've done it a couple of times this year,
right?
But as Caroline said, when the heat picked up, it really, required a little bit of extra mental to push through.
Gotcha. All three of you, what's your next big challenge or race that you got planned? We'll start with Christy this time and go backwards.
So actually, I just kicked off the Pace Spin Development Program. so this is a first for me. Is I'm trying to open up or break down some barriers to ultra racing for some people in the local community. And I was expecting to have 4 or 5 people apply. We ended up having 35 applications.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So, I have 28 athletes that my coach and I and my sports nutritionist Shane are working with to prepare for the Pace Bend Ultra February 5th. So while
Great.
that's not my personal race, it's so amazing. Like talking to these athletes, it's amazing. So that's my first thing. And then 2 weeks after that, just decided to do Sebring, literally like yesterday.
Oh, great.
Great.
So
We'll be down there covering that, so we'll see you there.
Jim
awesome.
will be covering Sebring on the spot for the Ohio Show.
Definitely.
And Christy, is your are you full now? Can you use anybody else? Can anybody else register?
No,
for your...
we have 28 athletes that we ended up capping it at because of space limitations and also bandwidth. But I will be doing something like this again, most likely next year. I think I'll probably try to do one a year. So I'll start putting material out well in advance next year.
Make sure we hear about it here, so
I
we
will.
can get so most of those are local. Is that correct?
Well, actually, we have people coming. We've got one girl coming from as far as the UK.
Wow.
Several from California, Colorado, Tennessee, South Carolina. But I think we have 9 states represented.
Great.
And I think 15 are local. So not to plug, but if Team Tracy ATX on Instagram, I'll be doing team introductions, and you can follow along with all of the demo team members through that if anybody's interested.
And we'll make sure we get those in the show notes, Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and anything to make more people aware and bring more people into the sport, which I think is your objective there.
I couldn't believe we had so many people interested. I'm so excited. It's
I saw that a few weeks ago, and I wanted to reach out to you about it. But anyhow, all right. Well, Carolyn, what's in your future?
I think some races in Denmark, and then maybe be back at Borrego next year.
Excellent.
A rematch.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Rematch.
Are you going to make any changes for next year based on what you did this year?
Well, I know the temperature, I know the heat. I think that will help me a bit. Trying to prepare for the heat. I think that's the most important thing.
Gotcha. How about you, Paige?
I haven't really made a race schedule yet, but I do know I'm going to be doing Gravel Worlds again, the 300.
Excellent.
I do want to try to get into Unbound 350. We'll see about that. And then maybe 24-hour again. We'll see.
Awesome.
But maybe a little bit more training on the TT bike.
There you go. Speaking of training, do you all train mainly outdoors or indoors or a mix? Caroline?
Outdoors.
In the summer, mainly outdoor. In the winter, it depends on the weather.
Gotcha.
But mainly outdoor, but more indoor in the winter than in the summer.
Okay. Christy?
exactly the same. Summer's outdoor almost exclusively, and if it's cold, I'll ride outside. But if it's cold and wet, I'll stick to inside. So
Gotcha. And Paige?
It's not usually wet here, so I can ride outside all year round.
Awesome.
But I do some of my intervals, like shorter intervals on the trainer, just a lot easier to get them done. And when I have busy days.
Definitely. Lee?
You know, we've got 3 winners here, actually. Just to go over it, Caroline, excuse me for not getting your name correct there earlier. She was the winner in the 2029 age group, and it's so good to see some younger people in there.
Definitely.
We do have some people who watch this who are new to ultra cycling. Ultra cycling isn't a race where you throw in the towel at age 35. You can keep right on going up into your 70s and be a part of this sport. So, Carolyn, you've got 50 years ahead of you
Yeah.
in this race. Paige, you were in the 30-39 group. You won that. And Tracy, of course, the 40-40. Now, you're getting up there, Tracy.
Holy!
It's all good. Yeah, I'm 42 this year, and I will say this is the very first year. I think it happens different for everybody, but I've really felt a difference in my recovery this year. Where in past years I've raced like all the disciplines, all the teams, raced every single weekend, something or another, and sometimes during the week as well on Swift. And I've been fine. It's no big deal. But this year I found I've really had to prioritize recovery. So I'm feeling my age just a little bit. I can't race every weekend anymore. And after like a 24-hour event, I've got to allow a little bit of recovery time before I just jump right back in.
Gotcha. Mr. Skydog was asking all three of you, what about RAM or Raw? Any plans, future plans?
I think I'm too new to ultracycling to answer that.
I'm planning on Raw this year.
Outstanding.
So my ultimate goal is RAM, and I started out with 6 hour, advanced to 12, then 24, then 500. So I feel like the next step is Raw, and then maybe RAM in 23 or 24. We'll see.
Excellent.
Factoring in work commitments and availability too. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Not anytime soon, but I do have a little dream of like putting together like a women's team for RAM or something like that. I did help support for Shane Trotter and Tyler Pierce for Raw, and that was really awesome. Raw's a whole nother animal. Just from being a support crew, like it is a tough race.
Definitely.
But I think that's definitely one that I could put on the to-do list in the future.
Awesome.
Okay, well, listen, Jim, I think we ought to give something away.
Awesome. I think you're correct. Let me get all set up here.
What are we giving away today?
We're going to do a $10 Bike Club 1-year membership.
Okay.
So, let me see if I got this set up right. Well, come on, switch.
You got too many switches, Jim.
No, it's... There we
Okay.
go.
Go ahead and spin it.
All right. Got a lot of entries today. Impressive.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't win for the little post I put up there.
Yeah. You always think that you're a winner, and then you're not.
Gregory, the voice
Greg.
of RAM.
Greg, you're going to have to buy yourself a bicycle. It's going to cost you about 10 times as much as you paid for that car. But congratulations. It just
Definitely.
the one people we keep hoping for just never happens, does it?
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
know.
We got to keep trying with them. They'll be back. Mads was asked, what about the teaming up of all three of you for a RAM team? You got 3 out of 4. You could add somebody else. That's a great idea.
Get Jen or
That would be awesome.
Meg or somebody like
Incredible.
Oh, if we get Meg, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
that. Speaking of that last comment, Mads Frank seems to be somebody who knows you, Caroline.
Yeah, I must admit he is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's sitting next to me.
All righty. And, Greg, if you're still listening out there, that's your pay for next year for being the voice of the OhioRAAM show.
Exactly.
Yeah, that means he gets paid more than you or I do, Jim.
I know. I don't quite understand that, but without his voice, we wouldn't have a show. So
No, we couldn't get that done. All three of you women are absolutely wonderful.
Inspiring.
We appreciate you coming on. It's always good when we have several people. It makes it more fun for us and easier for us, actually.
Yep.
Jim, but we hope to see all of you back there. Christy, good luck on your training program, your introduction program, I guess you could call it. And Carolyn and Paige, we'll be watching the rosters. We'll be watching the leaderboards and be looking for your names. Okay.
Yep. And when we want to be the breaking news when you guys form your team.
Yeah. Why don't you name? I tell you what, you get a fourth woman for a Ram team, and you name it after the OhioRAAM show, and we will. What would we do, Jim?
We would do a lot. We'd help sponsor whatever we needed to do. That would be awesome.
Don't say too much, Jim. You know our budget.
I know.
Yeah.
I figured you'd put it.
Yeah,
How about you donate that large salary that you're making off the OhioRAAM?
There you go. Exactly. Yes.
Still waiting for that ship to come in. But, well, it is a labor of love. We laugh about it, but this is what we do. We enjoy it. Listen, Jim, we ought to find Gregory back there. He just won a prize, so he better be ready to work, don't you think?
I think so. Yep.
Okay.
And
ladies,
let's talk about our next show real quick again, also.
Oh, yeah. Let's go back.
Yeah,
to
I'll
that.
bring it up.
Talk about Kurt Matzler, Rotary Rams polio. Hey, and have we got exciting news about what they are about next week? I just heard some news this week that they had to share, and I think this shows where RAM has really made a difference in the world. And Kurt will be here to talk about it. Bob McKenzie, who's worked with the Rotary International program for a number of years. So Kurt is doing it solo. They've had teams in before. Really exciting news for next week with the RAM, with the Rotary International team with us. Definitely. Okay, now don't go away, ladies. Hang in there.
Yeah.
And we're going to find Gregory and wake him up, see if he's ready to work.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.